We live in a world where fools win and the clever lose. I know that is hard to swallow. But look around you. You see people who cannot even form the sentences you do, who do not try as hard as you do, and who do not even possess intentions as good as yours, living the exact life you dream of. They have a secret. You only have your sweat. The problem is not your hard work. The problem is not bad luck either. The problem is this: you are violating the oldest and most ruthless rule of the universe. Instead of stepping up to life like a master and demanding what is yours, you hold your hand out like a beggar, waiting for the day it will be given to you. You have arrived at the shore of an endless ocean, but you are holding a broken teaspoon in your hand. And then you complain about why your bucket isn't full. Today, right here, right now, we are going to destroy that passive, submissive mentality, that habit of saying, whatever is meant to be, will be. Because wanting is not a naive session of wishing upon a star. Wanting is pressing the button that starts the mechanism. Wanting is a command that aligns the chaos. If you do not clarify what you want, life will only throw you everyone else's leftovers. This presentation is not going to lecture you on positive thinking. It will present you with the law of absolute results used by Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and the most powerful minds in history. The forgotten intricacies of the art of tearing away what you deserve. It will take that teaspoon out of your hand and replace it with a battle axe. If you do not want to spend the rest of your life silently accepting the value others dictate for you, listen to this presentation until the very last second, not as a lecture but as a call to arms. Principle 1. The invisible mechanism. You are living under a great delusion. In a massive misunderstanding, you took life for a polite waiter who silently reads your thoughts and serves you what you deserve on a silver platter. You were led to believe that if you just sit quietly in your corner, work hard, and don't disturb anyone, your reward will come right to your feet. But you are wrong. Life is not a waiter. Life is a massive, cold automated machine that runs solely on clear commands. Standing in front of this machine wishing from the bottom of your heart to be rich is no different from standing in front of a broken television wishing it would work. Both are destined to yield no results. Wanting, in the true sense, is not a passive session of making a wish. The dreams you build while lying in bed and staring at the ceiling are merely you consoling yourself. The universe does not have a single minute to spare for that. True wanting is extending your finger and pressing that start button with all your might. It is not a request, it is a trigger. Think about it. Do you have to know how electricity works, how voltage travels through wires, or the chemistry of the gas inside a light bulb? No. You walk into the room. You flip the switch. The light turns on. The mechanism does not care about your question of how. The mechanism responds only to the pressure at the tip of your finger, to your demand. Right here is exactly where most people lose. Instead of flipping the switch, you sit in the dark pondering the existential crises of electricity. This process is invisible, but it is absolute. When you pull that trigger, when you show the audacity to say, "I want this and I will take it," the flow of events changes. That great web the Stoics called the chain of cause and effect begins to vibrate in your favor. But if you do not make that initial move, if you do not state that demand clearly without your voice trembling, the system will simply remain in standby mode. Epictetus always reminded his students of this. Do not possess the arrogance to expect something to happen when you have done nothing to make it so. Therefore, if you want to understand why you have lost up until today, look in the mirror. You worked hard. Yes. You got very tired. Yes. But did you ever actually press that button? Or did you stand by the switch, praying for the machine to start on its own? The difference between the two is as vast as the chasm between winners and losers. Start the process. Pull the trigger. Because an undemanded right is merely an unvouchsafed charity. And we are not here to collect charity. Principle 2. Clarity is a weapon. Vagueness is weakness. Imagine you are in a battle. The commander orders the soldier, "Fire." The soldier asks in confusion, "Where, sir? At what target? Where is the enemy?" The commander shrugs. I don't know. Just fire somewhere nice. Shoot wherever your heart takes you. This scenario sounds funny to you, even absurd, doesn't it? Managing an army like that would be a disaster. But the bitter truth is this: every morning when you get out of bed, you manage your own life with this exact foolish strategy. You have the energy. You have the time. You have the ammunition. But you don't have the coordinates. You fire at random, and when you fail to hit anything, you blame the gun, saying, I have no luck. This is the blind spot where 90% of people lose, defining goals with adjectives. Always the same sentences. Always the same helplessness. I want to be happy. I want to be rich. I want to be at peace. These are not goals. These are abstract wishes muttered by weak people. The universal mechanism does not know your definition of happiness. The system runs on concrete data, not emotions. If you merely tell the system, give me money, life will drop a stray dollar coin in front of you and, technically, your request has been fulfilled. Did you want money? Yes, money. But was this what you actually wanted? Vagueness is weakness. Power, however, is born from an indisputable clarity. Consider a laser-guided missile. How does it find its target? You don't tell it to go and hit the bad guys. You give it latitude, you give it longitude, you give it altitude. The target is defined so precisely that the missile has no option left but to go exactly there. Your act of wanting must possess this exact surgical precision. Stop muttering. Do not ask for a good life. Paint a picture in your mind so clear that even the pixels of that image are visible. A life by the sea, in an exact square footage, doing a specific job, waking up at a precise hour in the morning, with specific people in it. Let its color be clear. Let its scent be clear. Let its texture be clear. There is a similar concept in the Stoic philosophy of mind. You must visualize something so clearly in your mind that it ceases to be a mere dream and transforms into a tangible, solid reality you can grasp. Seneca hurls this slap of a truth from centuries ago at today's confused individuals. If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. Most of you complain about the wind blowing the wrong way, about storms, and about waves. But your real problem is not the weather. Your real problem is that your map is completely blank. Even if you give the most powerful engine in the world to a man who does not know where he is going, the only thing he will do is burn fuel by running in circles right where he stands. This is the reason for your current exhaustion. Not moving forward, but running in circles. Therefore, throw those vague wishes into the trash today. Do not say, I want to be happy. State what will happen, where it will happen, when it will happen, and at what scale. If you do not mark your target like a laser sight, life will open fire on you at random. And in that chaos, the one who gets hit is usually you. Be clear. Be sharp. Because ambiguity is the sanctuary of failure. And unless you step out of that sanctuary, no power will ever take you seriously. Principle 3. Scarcity mindset. I want you to mentally witness the most tragic scene in history. In front of you is a massive ocean, so vast that even the horizon line is invisible. This ocean is not composed of water alone. Inside it boils status, money, power, respect, and opportunities. It crashes against the shore, roars and screams, "Come and take it." Then, we look at the shore. There we see you, standing back so your pant legs don't get wet, holding a tiny metal teaspoon in your hand. You dip it into the ocean. Your spoon fills up. You pull it back and complain to yourself, why does life give me so little? Why is my handful so small while others have full buckets? Hearing the answer will hurt. But I have to say it. The ocean is not stingy. The ocean has no limit. The problem is not with the ocean. The problem is with your miserable little spoon, with the value you dictate for yourself. When you showed up at the doorstep of the universe, you did not ask, how much will you give me? You held out that spoon, saying, I can only carry this much. And the universe gave you exactly what you demanded, the precise amount that spoon could hold. In psychology, this is called a scarcity mindset. But in the Stoic language, we call it a slave mentality. There are 3 lies deeply ingrained in the subconscious of most of you: that you do not deserve great success, that if you want too much, you will look greedy, that resources are limited. It is as if you think success is a pie, and if you take a large slice, others will go hungry. This is the greatest lie that poverty invented to justify itself. Success is not a pie. Success is a fire. The growth of your fire does not extinguish someone else's. On the contrary, it lights up the entire room even more. You think you are being humble, but in reality, you are being a coward. You were raised with numbing, visionless, toxic adages like, "Better a small patch of ground at peace than a vast kingdom at war." Yet, Epictetus considered a human being intentionally limiting their own potential to be an insult to the divine intellect. Why are you living like a slave when you were created like an emperor? The problem is this: you want just enough to get by from life. If my debts get paid, that's enough. If they don't upset me, that's enough. If my belly is full, that's enough. When you set the bar at the survival level, life will never give you a reward at the kingdom level. Go down to that shore today and throw that teaspoon into the bottom of the sea. Go there with a bucket, a tanker, a massive pipeline. Because the ocean does not care. The ocean only fills your container. If your container is small, that is not the ocean's fault. Ask yourself this question and be honest. Why are my expectations from life so cheap? The answer to this question will explain why you are still crawling on that shore. The boundary is not on the outside. The boundary lies within the diameter of your sense of worthiness. Expand it. Do not be afraid. It will not overflow. Principle 4. The paradox of abundance. I know that insidious, sour feeling that forms in your stomach when you watch the success of others. When an acquaintance gets a promotion, when a competitor gets rich, or when someone buys the car you dream of, even if you smile, your inner voice whispers, "Even they got it. My turn will never come." This is the genetic code of poverty. You view life as a battlefield where a single pie sits in the middle, surrounded by starving wolves fighting over a piece. Your mindset is this: if they take the big slice, only crumbs will be left for me. That is why you secretly desire for others to fall. Because you believe their fall will be your rise. What a blind mathematical error. The structure that the Stoics called the cosmos, the universal order, is not a zero-sum game. Success is not a game of musical chairs with a limited number of seats. Success is like light. The lighting of one person's torch does not diminish the light in the environment. On the contrary, it conquers the darkness even more. The law of the ocean is this: when someone takes a bucket of water from the ocean, the sea level does not drop. The ocean does not need your petty calculations, your jealousies, and your fears of "nothing will be left for me." It is an inexhaustible resource. When Marcus Aurelius was ruling an empire and witnessed this fear of scarcity in the power-hungry people and flatterers around him, he wrote this in that ancient notebook where he took notes for himself. Universal nature has never been stingy. What falls to one man's share is not stolen from another man's share. The resource is limitless. The limit lies only in your capacity to process that resource. Do you worry when the person next to you takes a deep breath while you are breathing? Do you fear, "Oh no, they used up the air. There will be no oxygen left for me"? No, because you know the air is abundant. So why do you choose to hold your breath and starve your lungs when it comes to money, power, or success? The problem is not with the system. The problem is with your understanding of competition. Wealth and success are not substances transferred from one place to another. They are values created out of nothing. As long as you remain inside that brawl trying to grab a piece of the pie, you will only get elbowed. Get up from that table. Go to your own kitchen and bake your own pie. Stop looking at other people's plates. The ocean does not dry up. Someone else's bucket being full is not the reason your bucket is empty. Your bucket is empty because you are looking at someone else's bucket instead of looking at the ocean. Turn your eyes to the target. The resource is there, and there is enough for everyone, enough to drown you, even. Principle 5. Asking intellectually. Mumbling is the native language of losers. If you step up to life and stammer like a timid child whose words cannot be understood, all you will get is a giant nothing. Imagine going to a restaurant and telling the waiter, "Bring me food." What does he bring? Perhaps stale bread. Perhaps a soup you don't like. Or perhaps someone else's leftovers. Do you have the right to be angry with him? No. Because you asked for food, and he brought food. Your relationship with life resembles this ridiculous ordering dialogue. I want to be rich. In what currency? How much? When? In exchange for what price? I want a good life. What kind of life? Built upon which values? You are afraid to give details. Because giving details means taking responsibility. Speaking vaguely is the sanctuary of cowards. If the result is bad, it gives you the luxury of saying, "Well, that wasn't exactly what I meant anyway." But for a Stoic mind, this vagueness is unacceptable. We call this strategic definition. The Stoics called this technique fantasia, mental imagery. But be careful, this is not the visualize it and it will happen nonsense that modern self-help gurus sell you. The art of Stoic imagery is like an engineer's blueprint. As an emperor making a battle plan, Marcus Aurelius did not just visualize defeating the enemy. He would visualize with crystal clarity in his mind which hill the enemy would come from, what weapons they would use, what the temperature of the air would be, and the sound of the horse's hooves. This was not a dream, it was a mental simulation. You must bring your desires to the exact same clarity. Do not say, "I'm looking for a house." Say, "I want a house in this specific neighborhood, south-facing, with a large balcony, at this price, with walls this color." Your target must become so clear in your brain that you can even smell it when you think about it. Because the human brain and the universal mechanism do not register general, run-of-the-mill wishes. They process only precise coordinates. Goals are like magnets. But the pulling power of the magnet is directly proportional to the clarity of the definition. A vague goal is a rusty magnet. It attracts nothing. But a goal whose color, size, time, and term have been determined transforms into a massive industrial magnet. Not only do you go toward it, it begins to be pulled toward you as well. Asking intellectually does not mean saying, "Whatever happens is fine by me." Asking intellectually means sitting down at the bargaining table with life and saying, "I want this, under these conditions, and at this time." Now stop that mumbling. Raise your voice. Define what you want down to the smallest detail, just as an architect draws a project. Remember, the universe loves details and obeys only those who know exactly what they want. Principle 6. The adult disease. Watch a child in a supermarket. When they want a toy, there is no fear in their eyes that says, "They won't buy this for me." They don't think about the budget. They don't calculate the logistics. They don't ask themselves, "Have you earned this?" They simply point their finger and say, "I want this." And they are as certain that the toy will be theirs as they are that the sun will rise. In their mind at that moment, the toy already belongs to them. The rest is merely physical delivery. Now let us turn and look at you, the highly evolved adult. The moment you want something, a virus activates in your brain. The name of this virus is, "What if?" I want it, but what if it doesn't happen? What if the market is bad? What if I'm rejected? What if I'm not ready yet? This is your tragedy. Your intellect is poisoning you. The years of experience you've gathered, the times you've been burned, and your so-called realistic perspective are actually a massive ball and chain tied to your ankle. You set a goal. Then, immediately afterward, you write a 10-item disaster scenario about why you cannot achieve that goal. You are like a general who sabotages his own path and blows up his own bridge. In Stoic philosophy, this is called assenting to a false impression. You are giving your approval to failure before events even unfold. Doubt is the cancer of desire. Imagine planting a seed in the soil. If you dig up the dirt every hour, tampering with the root to see if it's growing, you will kill that seed. This is exactly what you are doing. You put forth an intention. Then, with your doubts, you pull that intention out of its home every single day and harass it. And then you ask why it hasn't sprouted. It didn't sprout because you didn't leave it alone. Because you didn't trust it. You must immediately execute this habit of overthinking, this disease of adulthood. Do you know why children get what they want? Because they don't have a plan B. For them, there is only plan A, the result. You, on the other hand, are so cowardly that before you even set out, you prepare escape routes, asking, "What will I do if it doesn't work?" When your mind is this focused on escaping, how can it ever focus on winning? Epictetus's warning is like a sledgehammer to the trembling soul of modern man. If you board a ship, you must trust the captain. You cannot both abandon the helm and weep over the fear of sinking. Either do not board or trust. You have boarded the ship called life. You have set the course. Now, your job is not to have a panic attack on the deck, but to lean back, knowing that the helm is secure. Do not hide doubt under the guise of logic. Do not say, "I'm just being cautious." You are not being cautious. You are faithless. You do not believe in yourself. You do not believe in your process. And when you don't even believe in your own goal, expecting the universe to take you seriously is pure foolishness. Lock that "what if" adult inside a darkroom in your mind and swallow the key. Simply demand, and leave the rest to the flow. Because faith does not wait for proof. Faith itself is the proof. Principle 7, Childlike Faith, Adult Plan. Who is the most dangerous person in the world? Not the one with a weapon. The most dangerous person is the one who can hold two completely opposing forces in their mind at the same time, without conflict. Most of you are like one-winged birds. You are either a boring calculator that only speaks of logic, possesses a dried-up soul, and measures risk at every step, or you are a lethargic dreamer who merely sends messages to the universe but won't even get out of bed to take a single step. Both are garbage. Both are destined to lose. If you want to reach that peak that the Stoics called living life like an art form, you must merge two distinct characters inside yourself, a cold-blooded general and an obstinate child. The heart of the formula lies within this paradox. By day, be like a commander leading Roman legions. Map out your strategy. Calculate the logistics. See the obstacles and operate with cold logic. In those moments, there is no room for sentimentality. There is only duty, discipline, and sweat. With the seriousness of an adult, claw your way forward as if everything depends solely on your effort. But at night, when you put your head on the pillow, or when you press that final demand button, strip off that uniform and cast it aside. In that moment, transform into the child who is absolutely certain that they will find a gift under their pillow in the morning. Why? Because strategy shows you the path. Faith provides the fuel required to walk it. You usually do this completely backward. When making a plan, you act like a child, being sloppy and saying, "Oh well, it will all work out somehow." But when it comes to believing in the result, you act like an adult, blowing up bridges and saying, "What if it doesn't happen?" Logically, it's impossible. Reverse this sabotage. Marcus Aurelius wielded his sword on the battlefield like an adult. But in the lines he wrote in his journal, he believed with the simple surrender of a child that the universal order would bring him the most fitting end. This surrender did not make him lazy. On the contrary, it made him invincible. Because it is impossible for a man who does not obsess over the outcome to grow weary during the process. Plan like a general. I will do this, that, and the other thing. Believe in the outcome like a child. The thing I want will inevitably be mine. The moment you capture this balance, which looks contradictory or even a bit mad from the outside, but is actually brilliantly engineered, life stops resisting you. Because life respects an adult who knows what they want. But it can never say no to a child who demands with absolute persistence. Now, merge those two parts of yourself. Be a commander who slams his fist on the table, and a child with shining eyes. I know of no power that can defeat this duo. Principle 8. Hard work is not enough. The biggest, most elaborate, and most dangerous lie you were ever told was this: work hard, and you will surely get your reward. You were deceived. For years, in school desks, factory corners, and gray offices, a single piece of toxic software was downloaded into your brain. Sweat of the brow is sacred. Of course, effort is valuable. But effort alone will only make you a tired person, not a successful one. If the equation were simply hard work equals massive wealth, then movers, construction workers, and the people bending their backs for 14 hours under the sun in agricultural fields would be the richest and most powerful people in the world. Meanwhile, corporate CEOs and emperors would be scraping by. Look around you. Is that how the world turns? No. The world does not reward the one who sweats the most. It rewards the one who knows what they want the best. You are tearing yourself apart. You are losing sleep. You are sacrificing your weekends. And then you step up to life and say, "Look how tired I am. Give me my reward now." And life just smiles at you ruthlessly. Because life is not a charity that hands out medals for exhaustion. No one cares how much you suffer. Everyone cares about what you bring to the table, and how much value you place on what you've brought. You have to change the mathematics. Effort is an addition problem. Every day, you lay down a brick. This is slow, linear, and drains your lifespan. Wanting, that is, demanding, is a multiplier effect. Think of it like this. You perform 100 units of work in a day. But the value you place on yourself and your demand from life sits at a level of 1. The resulting outcome is merely 100. You receive a return of 100 for your 100 units of effort. Someone else does only 10 units of work. But the level they demand from life, their self-confidence, and their posture of, "I am worthy of this," sits at 100. The result reaches 1000. The difference here is not in the effort, it is in the multiplier. Even if someone's effort is massive, if the value they place on themselves is small, the outcome shrinks. Even if another's effort is minimal, if their value and demand are high, the outcome multiplies exponentially. The difference is not a matter of fairness. The difference is a matter of strategy. Seneca used to call people who constantly run here and there but arrive nowhere busy idlers. Their problem is not laziness. Their problem is that they use their energy like a slave rather than a master. A slave settles for whatever his master gives him, believing he must work harder for more. A master, however, determines his own worth. Which one are you? Stop taking pride in your exhaustion. Quit saying, "I work so hard, but it's not happening." Of course you will work. Of course you will sweat. Stoicism is not laziness. However, if you do not slap a label onto that sweat that says, "I want this, and this is the price," that sweat will merely drip onto the ground and dry up. You walk into the supermarket of life standing there with $1 million worth of effort. But when you get to the register, you say, "Just give me a loaf of bread, that's enough." The cashier gives you the bread and keeps the change. Because you do not get what you are worth, you get what you demand. Stop pitying yourself and using your exhaustion as an excuse. If you do not multiply your effort by a high demand, the result will always be close to 0. Increase the multiplier. Principle 9. The 90-day challenge. Close the books. Push the notes aside. If everything explained up to this point is not put into action, it amounts to nothing more than mental gluttony and intellectual babble. Knowledge transforms into power only when it is applied. Everything else is noise. I am not offering you a proposal right now. I am declaring war on you. Against whom? Against that whining, procrastinating, constantly, but saying loser self inside you. You have listened to it until today. And this is exactly where it has brought you. Dissatisfaction and burnout. Now, you will play by different rules. Your time frame is 90 days. Why 90 days? Because science tells us this duration is mandatory for a habit to take root and for the brain's neuroplastic structure, its neural networks, to change fundamentally. A single day's enthusiasm is not enough to flush out that "I can't do it, they won't give it to me" poison you have been planting in your mind for years. A rigorous diet is required. Over the next 3 months, you will enforce these strict rules. Rule 1. The complaint fast. Every word that leaves your mouth is a command. If you say, "I have no money, I have no luck, life is too hard," the universal mechanism interprets this as an order and brings you more hardship. For 90 days, no matter how severe the situation gets, not a single sentence of lack will come out of your mouth. Instead of complaining, you will demand. Not, "I have no money," but, "I am building wealth." Rule 2. The morning negotiation. Every morning when you open your eyes, you will sit at the bargaining table with life. No looking at the phone. No watching other people's lives on social media. Your very first task is to state what you want from life that day, either out loud or in writing, like a commander assigning tasks to his soldiers. Not, "Bring me peace today." Rather, "I demand this, and this opportunity today, and I am going to take them." Rule 3. The mental sentry. Seneca used to say, "Place a sentry at the gateway of the mind." For these 90 days, you will strike down at the door every doubt trying to infiltrate your mind. The moment the thought, "Can I really do it?" arrives, you will silence it not with a logical answer, but with a harsh rejection. "This thought does not belong to me. I reject it. This will not be easy." The first week, your mind will scream. Your old habits, your comfort zone will beg you, "Leave this nonsense. Come, let's play the victim card again. That feels much sweeter." Ignore it. If you want to possess the power to change the rest of your life, you have to pay this 90-day price. What do you have to lose? Your old life. You aren't satisfied with it anyway. This is not a trial version. This is a challenge. If your answer is, "I'm in," the process begins the second this presentation ends. Throw that teaspoon in the trash. The war has begun. Principle 10. Managing the no. The sound of that door slamming in your face. That moment of rejection. The phone call you've been waiting for that just won't ring. It hurt. Your pride was wounded. And you immediately wanted to embrace your old loser friend, the victim role. "The universe doesn't love me. I'm unlucky. Look, it didn't work out again." Cut the nonsense. That is the whining of a child. A stoic mind, especially a man determined to live his life like a master, reads rejection completely differently. You think that if you want something very badly, the universe will roll out a red carpet for you. No. The universe has a quality control mechanism. When you demand a great goal, the system does not give you that reward right away. First, it tests whether you can carry that reward or not. The obstacles, delays, and those massive no answers you encounter are actually a single question the universe is asking you. Do you really want this? Or are you just playing around? If you give up at the first sign of difficulty, the system says, "Clearly, he didn't want it that much, he was just a tourist," and closes your file. But when that door is slammed in your face, if you stand up even with a bleeding nose and pound on the door harder, that is when the system says, "This man is serious," and begins to unlock the gates. While Marcus Aurelius was wrestling with barbarians on the battlefields and plagues in the palace, he would remind himself of this magnificent principle. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. A no answer is not a wall. It is a step you must step on to rise higher. Think of lifting weights. The iron resists you. It pushes you down. Do you say, "This iron hates me"? No. You know that resistance grows your muscles. The resistance life shows is exactly that. A training session preparing you for that great life you want. If you pour boiling water into a thin glass cup, the glass cracks. If life gave you your desire before you were ready, that power would destroy you. The current delays, that "it's not happening" feeling, is actually a process that thickens your glass and hardens your will. So, the next time life says no to you, do not take it as a rejection. See it as a test of will. And say to the system with a smile, I know you are testing me, but I will not give up. I am more stubborn than you. Most people turn back when they are only one door away from their goal. That final door is usually the hardest to open, the rustiest, and the most terrifying. Giving up at that moment is the ultimate insult to all the effort you have put in up to that point, and to yourself. Rejoice when you encounter resistance. Because if there is resistance, it means you are on the right path. No one places a guard at the door to protect an empty box. If there are guards and difficulties at the door, it means there is a treasure inside. Get past the guard. Break the door. Do not accept the no. Principle 11. The psychology of obligation. There is a mountain of difference between wanting something and being forced to have it. The primary reason most of you fail is that you write your goals on a wouldn't it be nice list. It would be good if I were rich. It would be great if I were fit. I would like it if I were respected. These sentences are wishes. And wishes evaporate and fly away at the first gust of hardship. True power is born when desire rises to the level of obligation. Do you want to breathe? No. You are forced to breathe. If someone holds your head underwater, you don't say in that moment, I hope I can get some air. You thrash, you kick to get that air. If necessary, you break that hand and rise to the surface. Because at that moment, you have no plan B. You don't have the luxury of saying, if I can't get air, I'll do something else. Unless you look at that great goal in your life the way the man underwater looks at the air, you will never obtain it. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man in the world. He could sleep, enjoy himself, or offload his responsibilities onto someone else whenever he wanted. But every morning as he got out of his warm bed, he would cry out to his inner self, I am rising to do the work of a human being. Was I created to wrap myself in blankets and keep warm? Or was I made to do what fits my nature? It was not motivation that got him out of bed. It was a sense of duty that lifted him. He viewed ruling the empire not as a hobby, but as an inescapable destiny, an obligation. You, too, must remove your goal from being an option and turn it into a necessity. The brain is an interesting organ. If you tell it, it would be good if we did this, it defaults to laziness. But if you give it the message, we have to do this, otherwise we die, we are finished, that lazy brain suddenly transforms into the most intelligent problem-solving machine in the world. The greatest inventions, the greatest strategies, and the greatest fortunes in history have come from the minds of people who said, I had no other choice left. Plan B is the killer of Plan A. If you always have an escape plan in your pocket, you will never fight with your full strength. Burn the ships. Blow up the bridges behind you. Put yourself in such a position that you have no path left but to go forward. Look at your goal today and decide, is this a hobby for you? Or is this a requirement for your identity, your existence, and your survival? If you say, it's fine if it doesn't happen, give up right now. Because someone saying, it has to happen, will come and take that goal right out of your hands. Stop saying, I want. Say, I must. And unleash the terrifying power created by that obligation. Because the moment a man is at his bravest and most dangerous is when he is left with no choice. Principle 12. The Oath of Secrecy. Up to this point, we have set up the mechanism. We have locked onto the target. We have hardened the will. However, there is one final trap that will jeopardize the success of the operation. That fatal error that causes most of you to burn out the engine before you even set out, the inability to keep your mouth shut. When you lock onto a massive goal, an immense energy builds up inside you. This is like pressure in a steam boiler. This pressure is the fuel that will carry you to the target. But what do? You go and tell this goal to your circle, your family, or even to people you don't know at all on social media. I am going to get rich. I am going to start this business. I am going to build this body. The moment you speak, you vent that pressure in the boiler right out of the relief valve. In psychology, this is called social reality. When you tell your goal to someone else and receive their praise of, "Wow, great idea," your brain releases dopamine as if you have already achieved that task. You feel satisfied. You relax. And your action energy dies. Talking is the greatest enemy of doing. Furthermore, when you tell your goals to average people, you receive only fear and sabotage from them, not support. Your massive desire throws their own failures back in their faces. That is why they tell you, "You can't do it, it's risky, forget it." And you start spending your energy trying to convince these people instead of focusing on the target. What a massive waste. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus would give this harsh warning to his students. Sheep do not vomit up their grass to show the shepherds how much they have eaten. They digest that food internally and produce wool and milk externally. So do not explain your theories to me. Show me the result you have produced with your actions. From this moment on, you will sign a non-disclosure agreement with yourself. We call this a shadow operation. The larger your goal, the deeper your silence must be. You will go deep like a submarine. No one will know what you are doing, what you are planning, what books you are reading, or what you are working on at night. People will see you only when you obtain the results. Let them think you are lost. Let them think you gave up. Their ignorance about you is your greatest shield. Do not leak your energy outward. Keep that pressure inside. Let that pressure make you uncomfortable. Let it keep you awake. Let it push you. Because the force that will launch you out of bed and into action is the pressure of that untold story you keep inside. Let nothing expose your secret but your results. Success loves noise. But the process of formation demands absolute silence. Shut your mouth and start building. When you started this presentation, you were that victim waiting by the ocean with a broken teaspoon in hand, secretly complaining, "Why don't they give it to me?" But now, that person is dead. Now you know the mechanism. You know that the secret is not luck, it is not praying. You know the secret is daring, gaining clarity and paying the price. Before, you had an excuse. You could say, "I don't know, I can't find the way." But from this second onward, that excuse has been taken out of your hands. Once you have seen the truth, you cannot play blind. From this hour on, the cause of your failure will not be ignorance. Your cause will merely be a chosen cowardice. This is a heavy burden. Because the moment you realize your potential, failing to manifest it becomes the greatest crime committed against yourself. Now when you look in the mirror, there is no naive child you can deceive. There is a potential you must account to. Two paths lie before you. The first path, you close this presentation. You return to your old lethargic life. Tomorrow morning, you chase those vague goals again and console yourself, saying, "This was my fate." But I warn you, after this presentation, that old life will squeeze you like a suit that is 2 sizes too small. Because once the mind expands, it never returns to its old dimensions. That dissatisfaction will consume you. This transformation will be painful. Seeing your circle witness this will make you uncomfortable. Your circle will try to pull you down, to return you to your old compatible and harmless state. Smile and pass them by. Eagles do not care what sparrows think. Do not be afraid of being alone. The majority is always wrong, and the herd always heads for the cliff. The summit is lonely, but the view is worth it. If everyone loves you, it means you are doing something wrong. The price of being a master is risking being misunderstood. The second path, you rise from the table like a master. Your shoulders straight, your gaze clear. You hurl that damn teaspoon, that scarcity mindset, that victim role, that "can I really do it?" cowardice to the bottom of the ocean in your mind this very second. And you take up that massive bucket you deserve. Life has no mercy for cowards. Life respects only those who know what they want and dare to take it. Stoicism is not sitting in a corner waiting for death. Stoicism is keeping the fortress inside secure while storms rage outside, and ruling outward from that fortress. What Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus left us as a legacy is not words, but a character. Put on that character. Stop betraying yourself. Stop throwing your potential in the trash. Stop being afraid to want. The ocean is there. The water is infinite. The bucket is in your hand. Go and take it. Right now. Not tomorrow, not Monday. Now. Because never forget Seneca's jarring warning. How cruel it is to realize at death that you have never lived. Do not fall into the delusion of assuming your time is infinite. The hourglass has been turned, and the sands are running. Perhaps you have 50 years ahead of you. Perhaps you won't make it to tomorrow. You cannot write that great life you postponed on your tombstone. While you are breathing, while warm blood still flows in your veins, attack that life. There is no compensation for being too late.